At long last, Stadium Championship Series West moves out from the sunny skies in California to the cold and overcast Motor City that is Detroit. Ford Field has hosted some pretty awesome Monster Jam shows, and the Michigan fans are excited to see the return of their hometown team perform after 5 years of missing out. Jim Cola has debuted a Detroit Lions inspired Avenger, but that is not what everyone is talking about. For the first time since the All-Star Challenge in 2019, Northern Nightmare makes its return to competition and will be driven by Chris Cola. How will Chris Cola do behind the wheel of this championship-winning truck in front of his hometown crowd? Will Joe Foley take home another freestyle win after his incredible success throughout this year? All of these questions will be answered. So without further ado, this is our Detroit 2024 event review. As a reminder, Stadium Championship Series West consists of Adam Anderson in Gravedigger, Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger, Barry Musawa in Zombie, Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid, Colt Stevens in Thunderosaurus, Caleb Blood in Soldier Fortune, Jim Cola in Avenger, Corey Rummel in Megalodon, Chris Cola in Northern Nightmare, Joe Foley in El Toro Loco, David Alfer in Velociraptor, and Mike Christensen in Vendetta. Starting off with Show 1, in round 1 of racing, Gravedigger defeated Soldier Fortune, Thunderosaurus defeated El Toro Loco, Vendetta defeated Avenger, and Megalodon defeated Northern Nightmare. In round 2, Son of a Digger defeated Gravedigger in a photo finish, Thunderosaurus defeated Velociraptor, Vendetta pulls off the upset against Bakugan Dragonoid, and Zombie defeated Megalodon. In the semi-finals, Son of a Digger defeated Thunderosaurus, and Vendetta defeated Zombie. The final round pitted the series leader against main event Mike Christensen, the man who won racing in San Diego Show 1. It was a dogfight to the finish line, but Ryan Anderson unsurprisingly pulls out the win. The skills challenge didn't have much experimentation in terms of moves, but a lot of drivers had really good routines, like Adam Anderson and Camden Murphy. If you were expecting Ryan Anderson to be in the top 3, you'd sadly be mistaken. In a rare occurrence, Anderson looked to really struggle pulling off his usual routine. In third place would be Caleb Blood in Soldier Fortune, who would pull off a great moonwalk off the pod that saw her twist on the front tire, and a great moonwalk off the step-up. Taking second place would be Chris Cola in Northern Nightmare. Chris certainly put Northern Nightmare back on the map with 2 great bicycles, one of which seeing him pulling off this incredible save. Winning the skills challenge, interestingly, would be Colt Stevens in Thunderosaurus. Stevens' skills routines this season have always been good, but never enough to take home the win. However, tonight was most certainly not the case. He would have this back and forth combo of a moonwalk into reverse popper, and then had this great bicycle. Moving on to freestyle, there were a lot of amazing runs throughout the night. David Alfert would start us off in freestyle and lay down a typical Alfert heater. Great pace and huge transfers were the highlights of the run, but unfortunately nothing else really stood out, but was still a great way to start freestyle. Barry Musawa would have a decent run, that while lacking in most departments such as momentum and air, it did have a backflip which helped it score a 9.004. While Colt Stevens' run started out pretty tame, it most definitely picked up after he started hitting the transfer. A perfect mini flip added in with some more huge transfer leaps, and almost a great save ended his run. Stevens takes the lead, scoring a 9.427. The hometown hero Jim Cola would try to put on an epic performance, and while he did air it out, a bad bounce from the backflip sent him over early. Chris Cola in Northern Nightmare would follow and lay down quite possibly one of the best freestyle freestyles of his career and all of 2024. It had some great pace and huge transfers, but the crowd really went nuts after Chris gave us not one, not two, but 3 fantastic saves. This run gave some serious Cam McQueen vibes, and the fans in Detroit were on fire after Chris Kohler burnt it down. Kohler takes over the lead, scoring a 9.870. Caleb Blood was tasked with following Chris Kohler's event-winning run. However, it was clear that the truck wasn't 100% and would roll over soon after. Camden Murphy would have a fairly tame run until he had this awesome pirouette move. However, truck breakage in the rear meant he could not continue. Following last week's destructive freestyle run, Adam Anderson would have to go all out just like in Anaheim if he wanted to take home the freestyle win. This run was incredible, with insanely good flow, a great combo from the pod to the step up, incredible transfers, and a consecutive backflip into a great save. While I agree with the score being less than what Chris got, I still think it should have outscored Colt Stevens' run. Corey Rummel would let the Detroit fans know he meant business in his team's hometown show. Rummel gave the fans a truly epic freestyle, filled with some great transfers and an incredible save. The run would come to an end after this wild rotation off the backflip ramp and saw him save it on top of the dumpsters. Joe Foley would follow Rummel's run with a heater of his own. While maybe not good enough to take home the win, it was a great performance from Foley, which saw him get some two-wheel technicality, added in with some great flow and huge leaps. The run scored kinda low, only receiving a 7.848. And in my opinion, should have been a little bit higher. Last to end off freestyle was Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger, who laid down a really good freestyle run that didn't have any standout wow factors and rather just had great air and good flow. However, a rare mistake by Ryan Anderson caused him to roll over early and gave Chris Kohler his first win of the 2024 season, along with Northern Nightmare its first win since 2019. With a not-so-perfect night from Ryan Anderson. That meant somebody else would take home the overall, that belonging to the skills winner and reigning freestyle world champion Colt Stevens, as show 1 comes to a close. After an incredible first night in Detroit, show 2 arrived and fans were eager to see the amazing action that was in store. In round 1 of racing, Vendetta defeated Northern Nightmare, Megalodon defeated Soldier Fortune in a photo finish, Avenger defeated Velociraptor, and Zombie defeated the Bakugan Dragonoid. In round 2, a rematch of last night's final round race saw Son of a Digger once again come out on top against Vendetta. Megalodon defeated El Toro Loco in a very close race, Gravedigger defeated Avenger, and Thunderosaurus defeated Zombie. In the semi-finals, Son of a Digger defeated Megalodon, and Gravedigger defeated Thunderosaurus. You couldn't ask for a better final round race to end the weekend in Detroit, as both Andersons would face off once again. But a slight mistake from Ryan Anderson in the second to last turn meant that Adam Anderson would win racing for the first time since San Francisco Show 1. The skills challenge was a little bit lacking compared to last night. A few drivers failed to get their moves, but there were also some really great attempts from drivers. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Jim Kohler for actually being able to pull off the maximum moonwalk this time, balancing it on the front 2 tires briefly before putting it back on the backflip ramp, rather than doing what he normally does, which I've aptly named the forward. Camden Murphy deserves an extra special mention for this almost competition-winning skills run, but came up just a little bit short. While his first hit was a great tombstone moonwalk, his second was this crazy combo off the step up that almost saw him pull off a crazy save. He would roll over and was unfortunately only good enough for 4th place. Taking 3rd place in the skills challenge would go to Adam Anderson, who would pull off 2 great bicycles. In 2nd place would be Adam's brother Ryan, who would spice it up in skills. He would perform 2 clean bicycles, one of which seeing him get this crazy rotation and then stomping on the gas to put it into a vintage power wheelie. Team Scream secures yet another win in their hometown, as Corey Rummel would win the skills challenge. Rummel has been perfecting the maximum moonwalk, and at Detroit Show 2, we saw his best attempt yet, corking the wheels Mikey Varda's style, before following that up with a great moonwalk into a little bit of a bounce off the step up. Freestyle was really good. I mean, there was some serious Freestyle of the Year contenders that we got to see at this event. Kayla Blood would start us off, and she absolutely burnt it down seconds into her run. She would almost roll over onto the dumpsters, but thankfully had enough momentum to make the save whilst avoiding those dumpsters. Kayla would proceed to air it out for the rest of the run, getting some insane transfers and incredible flow throughout the run. She would unfortunately roll over and end what was a great run to kick off Freestyle. Ryan Anderson would be next, and he would set the tone for the rest of the night with a really good run. While it didn't have a crazy save like Kayla's, the constant flow from jump to jump, move to move, a backflip, and a barrage of big air launches helped Anderson take the lead in Freestyle with a 9.306. Camden Murphy would follow up Anderson's run with a pretty solid run of his own. However, blowing a tire early on would hinder his mobility, especially when he tried attempting a backflip and rolled over due to EFI issues. Joe Foley would be next to try his luck in Freestyle, and he gave us his best Freestyle run since San Diego Show 3. My goodness, I continue to not be able to comprehend how he just keeps doing it, but all we have to do at this point is let the man cook. Huge transfers, constant huge air, an amazing backflip, and some two-wheel technicality was a fantastic way to excite the crowd and put them on their feet. It's good enough to take the lead, but only just, scoring a 9.315 compared to Ryan Anderson's 9.306. David Olfert would be next, and he would have a great run, although not to the caliber of Anderson's or Foley's. It had some really good pace, huge transfers, a huge skywheelie into a pogo, and a great bicycle into save. His run would come to an end after his truck seemingly shut off just before the backflip. Jim Kohler would hit the track next, and unfortunately his run was very short, but at least he had a very memorable moment. He would get tripped up on the pod and almost have this fantastic save, but unfortunately he just couldn't save it. Corey Rummel would throw down yet another barn burner run in Freestyle, absolutely launching it off ramps, including this hit off the pod, which is just outrageous. My god, look at that height. He also had really good flow and a backflip, but the run was not good enough for the win and took third place. Bari Musawa's run was a little bit different to what he normally performs. The pace was very much stop and go, but he did manage to keep it interesting with some great transfers and even this very random moonwalk attempt. Unfortunately, the truck was sputtering as he lined up for the backflip, resulting in the run coming to an abrupt end. Adam Anderson would follow up Musawa's run, and we got to see Adam's best freestyle that we have covered on this event review series by far. While Ryan and Joe both had incredible flow and a standout wow factor, Adam's was top notch and arguably didn't need any of those. Everything came together, naturally flowing from one move to the next, getting some outrageous leaps and transfers. The run featured a backflip and easily took the lead, scoring a 9.476. Seriously, this run was absolutely amazing. I highly suggest you take a moment to watch this run in full. My commentary does not do it justice. The reigning freestyle world champion Colt Stevens would be next to try his luck in freestyle. While definitely not enough to challenge Adam for his lead, it was most certainly a fun and great freestyle to watch, with some great transfers and even this awesome save on the berm. Ending off what has been an incredible freestyle competition would be Chris Kohler in Northern Nightmare. While his run was most definitely not on par with last night's, it was still pretty solid, getting some great pace throughout and some nice transfers along with a backflip. The The run ended with an unconventional stoppie, and it was just a great way to end off Cola's amazing weekend. Unsurprisingly, it is not enough for the win, gifting Adam Anderson his first freestyle win since Anaheim Event I, and with that, he also claims the overall event championship. While positions have not changed at all, it's still a reasonably close battle. Ryan Anderson still leads, with 42 points behind him being his brother Adam Anderson, who now has opened up a pretty significant gap on Camden Murphy. Speaking of gaps, Bari is closing in on Camden Murphy, but Corey Rummel isn't far behind Musawa. In fact, so is Colt Stevens, who isn't far behind Rummel as he rounds out our top 6. David Olfert sits in 7th, Joe Foley sits in 8th, Chris Kohler moves up to 9th, Caleb Blood unfortunately falls down to 10th, Mike Christensen sits in 11th, and Jim Kohler is still in last place. Detroit was an incredible weekend of Monster Jam action. It showcased some of the best moments not just of Stadium Series West, but the entire year. Show 1 was a really entertaining event to watch. The racing was good and had some really close races. The skills challenge, while not as creative as Anaheim, was definitely still entertaining and a lot more refreshing given that somebody other than Ryan Anderson won the competition. Freestyle was just an all-out war. We really got to see some amazing runs, especially that one from Kristen and wrong person. Of course, we can't go further without again mentioning that amazing Chris Kohler run that deserves this year's Freestyle of the Year award. With that being said, I'm going to rate Detroit Show 1 4.25 stars. Detroit Show 2 was easily the best Stadium Series West show since San Francisco Show 2. Racing was incredible and ironically had the same final round race as this one. Skills might have been lacking, but we saw a new winner and some really awesome attempts. And my goodness, freestyle was just on another level. You could put half the field's gigantic leaps as nominees for Air of the Year award. There was just so many amazing moments and runs from that night. Again, I can't go further without mentioning Corey Rummel's or Adam Anderson's, even Joe Foley and Ryan Anderson's. Those runs were just absolutely fantastic. And with that being said, I'm going to rate Detroit Show 2 4.5 stars. This makes Detroit Show 2 tie with San Francisco Show 2 as the highest rated show in our event review series. Make sure to tune into this week's Monster Truck news video, which unfortunately again will be a day later, as we cover the results and points from all other Monster Jam tours. So remember, make sure to tune in to Monster Truck news this Friday rather than Thursday. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon with some more Monster Truck content.